So let's take a look at the views and understand what really happens when you try to look at a view. When using our views, we have Razor incorporated in it. The first thing that happens when we try to look at a view is this file, the view start CSHTML, is evaluated. This says it has a layout in the view shared _layout CSHTML file. So we'll actually go and try to grab this file first. Now this means, let me back up. If you went and looked at your index.html file, your CSHTML file, the very first thing that happens is it looks in this area and it says, hey, there's no layout that was set up, and actually when this view was created, it was actually based upon a template. So by default, when you look at a view, MVC will first go grab the _viewstart.cshtml file. Then it goes and evaluates and parses the actual view that you're working with. So if you take a look back at the view start, it sets the layout to be that _layout. So it goes and executes that _layout, and then it comes into here, and whatever was set in that other one, it then changes it to be this. In other words, let's go and take a look at that layout file, which is under shared. In the layout file, it says go set the title to be _viewbag.title dash, and then it has that text. Well, since that is executed first in the _layout file, when it actually comes into the index, this now takes precedence over what was written in this file because it works sequentially. After it looks at the index.cshtml view and parses it and evaluates it, then it goes and it parses and evaluates, if present, the layout when it hits a render body. So let's take a look back to this layout. And here's our layout, and it says we need to parse this along with our other view, and it's almost like it meshes it together. Once it hits this render body, it replaces it with HTML script resulting from the evaluation of this file. So when you hit the render body, it then pulls and evaluates all of this, and it parses it together, resulting in that one view.cshtml file. After that, it builds the HTML control with the layout and the views together, and it sends it off to the browser. In other words, take a look at this example. Assume that this was our _layout.cshtml, and for the sake of an example, assume that this highlighted area was in our _viewstart.cshtml file. It says to go and work with the _layout CSHTML. So when we went to a view, it first grabbed the _viewstart, looked at this, which then sent it over to this file. Now let's make another example and assume that this highlighted area was actually in our view file that we were working with, like index CSHTML file. When it hits this area, it realizes it didn't have a layout defined, but when it was first created, it had a template layout, so it jumps out to _viewstart CSHTML, who in turn sends it to _layout.cshtml, who in turn executes all of this HTML, and then it hits this statement right here, render body. So when it hits the render body, it says, let's go out to the code of our content page, or actually our view that we were working with, and put it all together. And if you notice, it replaces the render body with what we had in our view.cshtml, that index.cshtml file. Hopefully that makes sense and gives you an idea of what's happening with that render body and how a view first calls the _viewstart, who in turn calls the _layout, who in turn goes and grabs the content of the view and meshes it together with the layout to create one view and then returns that to the browser.